Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm Soraya. So today with another sponge painting with this sponge, I'm going to change up a painting that I had finished that I really liked. But since I've been doing these really dramatic clouds with my sponge, I just thought I'd change up that sky and see where else it would lead me to. So keep watching. Let's see what happens. So although I really like this bottom part, I'm not too crazy about this. It's nice. I really like it. But I think with the clouds that I've been doing, it could be better. So let's see what happens here. So I'm starting off with a bit of titanium white and light blue, and I'll show you all the colors that I'm going to use. But I want these two to keep it really nice and soft. Just kind of cover it up just a little bit. And I have some dioxazine purple here. I'm going to go back and add a little bit of Payne's Gray just to cover up what's here first. So maybe that's what I'll do, is just kind of cover up everything and then go back in. So it'll have some texture to it because there's already some texture to this painting. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, or if you just forgot, sometimes that happens. And also please click on the like button. That really helps me out. So by adding these kind of dark colors over what's already existing, it really kind of gives you a blank slate, and the texture is still there, so it's really nice to work with that texture and add the color. I just keep going over it and adding highlights in certain places, and you see some of the color coming through, which makes for a really beautiful painting. So far I haven't added anything to the sponge. It's just a dry sponge and paint straight out of the tube, and I kind of mix it on the canvas. I add a little bit on the sponge and then move my way around the canvas, and you can see how beautifully it mixes. Just going to soften up these edges here. Don't like these scraggly kind of lines. But I do like that white coming down into this kind of focal area, like as if this water is going somewhere really far. A place we can't see. I decided I needed to balance out the dark area from the right onto the left. It's a little bit lopsided to me, and that's why I'm adding the Payne's Gray to this area. Now 99% of the time I am adding two colors at one time so they blend together as I'm applying them on the canvas. In this case it was the white with a light blue. And it seems kind of odd. I've just put the dark, but you go over that and you see the dark still coming through, but it makes it more interesting and more, it has more depth to it when you do it this way. I'm going in all directions, softening everything up. I decided that I needed to go over this area because I kind of lost some of it as I was working around this area. And it's important to me to have that because it kind of points to that focal point. I'm not adding any water or any additives. It's just the paint on a dry sponge. So as you can see, as I'm working, that I'm always trying to soften things up and not leaving too many hard edges. You could have a difference, differentiating colors, but you also want them to kind of blend all together. At least that's the way I like it to look. So I've got two sponges going, and I keep alternating between the two. Now, whenever possible, I do like to darken up the corners, and because I feel that by darkening them up, it draws your eye more to the light and towards that focal area. There's a hard straight edge there, so I'm just smoothing it out. So I like to step back and take a look of what's happening, and there's a lot of purple here and not so much here. And so I think I'm going to be adding a bit more here. So as I'm adding that purple, it is in very small amounts. At first you really barely can see it, and it's better to do it that way to keep it in line with what's happening with the rest of the painting. Later on, maybe I'll add a little bit more and get that purple color really accentuated. But at the beginning, always add little bits at a time. Sometimes I do get lost in the details, and that's why I really like to step back, and I do often step back and take a look at the overall painting, how it's looking overall. You want the overall look to be cohesive and works really well together. I always love reading your comments, so thank you to everyone who has left me a comment. I really appreciate hearing back from you, and I do answer any questions that you have. So if you have something that a question that I haven't covered, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll do my best to answer them as soon as I can. So for those of you who don't know, I am a self-taught artist. I learned along the way through many trials and errors, sometimes tears as well, when I just couldn't understand why it wasn't working out the way I wanted to. And so I'm helping you out so that you don't have to go through that. But it is a passion of mine. I love to paint, and I'm grateful to be able to do it as often as I do, and to teach you what I know. I also love to use my brushes, and that gives me the opportunity to really get in and refine the details and areas that I want, certain lines or edging that needs to get highlighted or whatever it is. I love the brushes, and you should try it out with different variety of brushes as well. I don't have too many. Pretty much these kind of pointy ones that give me a nice point whenever I need it, and I use the side of them. I've got maybe 2 or 3 brushes that I use kind of on all the time on rotation, along with my sponges, because I use more than one. And that's it. You don't have to have a lot to create quite a beautiful painting. For some reason or other, there's always one area in the painting that kind of gives me a hard time, and it's not until I really study it and understand what it is about it that's
I feel that I need to go back and keep changing, that when it really works, that I understand the problem I have with it, if you can put that in quotes. So that's why sometimes that you see me doing something, painting, and then I go back and I realize, hey, this isn't working because of this reason. I hope that made sense. Let me know. Just switching back and forth between the two sponges. So I realized after working on this area for some time that the problem was the perspective on it. I wanted it to look far away, and it was just too big and too much for it to look far away. It has to be smaller when you want it to look far away. And then I finally realized that that was the problem, and I worked around it to reduce that size of that kind of wave splash up, and everything came together.
So this is the way it's looking right now, and this color all spread out here is not reflected here. So I have an option to put it there, or I can get rid of it, and I'm still trying to make up my mind. I decided I'm gonna add a little bit more purple in these areas and see how that looks. And just adding a teeny weeny bit amount of water here, just to let the paint flow a little bit better. Usually I would use a Liquitex matte medium, but I don't have any on hand. I have mentioned it in other videos that I moved, and when you move, things get lost. I just can't find it, so I have ordered it. I just haven't received it yet, so I'm making do with water. And water works pretty good just to thin out the paints a little bit. So you can see that it softened it up quite a bit and covered up some of that color. Not even sure, it must have been a combination of colors, because I don't know what it is. When you're painting and you're adding, that's what happens. You create new colors by adding colors on top of each other. So that could very well be what happened. But I'm going to get rid of some of it. Again, just the teeny weeniest, very technical terms, teeny weeny little amount of water. Just enough. You don't want anything dripping. And I'm going back and forth between the purple and a little bit of the light blue. And I like that combination. So that color that's up there that has a little bit of purple is coming down onto this kind of raging water. Lots of texture in this painting. And I like that. It looks good to me. Let me know what you think. When you look up close, there's so many beautiful variations, and I like that. Just softens it up. That is just adding the smallest amount of titanium white. Don't want to see any kind of tips, as I call them, like no, just the color to cover up a little bit and soften it up. Want to make it light and hazy looking. But you don't want to have any area that will emphasize that area. So if I left it this way, you would emphasize that area. I don't want it to emphasize. I just want to lighten the area. Okay, I like that.
I'm just going to continue on and do the same thing all over. This painting had texture from tissue paper. I added tissue paper and just kind of put the colors on top. That's why there's got all this interesting texture all over it. I do like the effect, especially on an abstract. It really adds a lot of interest. It's a good technique to try out if you're ever kind of stuck and you want to do something different. Try that out. So adding the purple really has toned down some of that pinky color in there, or coral color, I guess it would be, not pink. But it's interesting now that you've got that purple and it's come down from here onto here, which looks really good. It makes it more cohesive. Now, because I went over some of this coral, I want to kind of unify by putting in some lines here. Like it was all intentional all along. That's the beauty of acrylic paint. It dries so quickly, you can change it up rather quickly. I never put a lot of paint, so it does dry very quickly. I'm able to go back, and if it's not drying, then you go to another section, work on that, and then you come back to it. That's kind of sometimes why I jump all over the place, because you do want it to be drying, and so you can go back on work on it, add color, do whatever you need to do to it. I'm thinking of this as some kind of a rock. I'm going to do that throughout the whole painting. Kind of let the brush do whatever it's going to do. Don't be too precise with it. For me, I find that if I am looser with my paintings, they turn out better. When I start getting too detailed and too precise about things, it doesn't work. I just shouldn't say too detailed, because I do add a lot of detail. It's just, you don't want to add a lot of, or I don't do a lot of exact interpretations of things. The rock doesn't have to look exactly. Neither does the water or ocean or sky or whatever. It doesn't have to look exactly. To me, it's more fun to kind of work with it and let it go, and it's my interpretation of it. Those lines also emphasize to go to the focal point, so it's all going towards that area, which I like. I'm going to continue along here as well. Same idea that I did there, keeping in mind where the focal point is and kind of grounding this area that I've covered in this kind of purplish color. Because of all that texture, it's kind of easy to pick out where you want the peaks to be, but that's an artist's choice. You as an artist can do whatever you like. See this painting maybe differently, or you would have had a different choice or make different choices than what I've been making, and that's because that's your painting and your interpretation as compared to mine. This is what I see. This is what makes me happy to do, And I have different vision than perhaps you would. But you should work towards the vision that you want and work towards something that you would love. I've said it very often that I always keep working until I love a painting. And this painting was beautiful. I think my style changed a bit. And I do love creating these dramatic skies now. So that's why I wanted to change it up. I have been told that my paintings are very spiritual, or a lot of people say religious. To me, I think of it as spiritual. Some people would like that, some people will not. To me, it does speak to me, having this kind of look. Let me know if that's what you think when you see my paintings. Leave me a comment, let me know. Always love hearing from you. Just kind of letting the brush do its thing. Not being precise, as I said.
So I see a lot of kind of light blue here, so I want to add some of it up on top. I'm switching over just to a flat brush and a tiny little bit of light blue.
I'm just going to add it in some of the darker areas here. I'm adding more white to this area to really make it really white and to emphasize that focal point. Of course, I'm still not happy with this area, so I keep working till I am.
As promised, here are the colors that I used. Liquitex Basics Titanium White, Artist Loft Light Blue, Amsterdam, and that is Ultraviolet, and Liquitex Dioxazine Purple, and Pebeo Studio Paynes Gray. And that's what I used. Okay, so I decided to change up that little bit here at the far end because it was looking too large for me. It needed to be further in the distance, and that's why I did that. And I softened everything up, softened those colors so that there's still a sense of them, but not as strong as they were before. So everything is kind of light and airy and soft. And I really like that. And here it is. I'm loving the way that's looking now. Very happy. I'll show you a before and after, what I started off with and what it ended up with. So let me know in the comments which one you prefer. And click on the link you see now to see more of my sponge paintings.
So here is the before, very pretty still, but I think I really love the final result. Let me know what you think.